fastest in the West and the East, because he plays on both servers. Have a beer pong show match between ZG and Fear Dragon? Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. But we kind of need to be in the same place. So, I don't know how that's going to work. We might be in the same... Oh, we'll be in the same place in Valencia. No spoilies. JK, all the spoilies. Maybe then. Bottom right of now the grand finals, guys. I know we were just in the semifinals, and these guys are so freaking fast. We're already in the finals. But it is a best of 5. The bottom right of Berlingrad, it is MaxPax. In the top left, it is the blue Terran Byun. Byun. And Byun has been loving his factory expands. He does do a 1x expand, but then even that has been on the high grounds, which he's done it against Hero, and you're like, well, it's Hero. And you're like, fair enough. He did it against Creator, and it's like, oh, well, Creator, you know, he can be cheesy, so yeah, fair enough. Did it against MaxPax? Oh, hell yeah, of course. Duh. Like, of course you will, right? MaxPax still literally does the MaxPax. And he does proxy gateways as well. And he does proxy Stargate. He does everything proxy. He's like, whatever. This kid does whatever he wants. As far as the openers go, I do think that for a while he had constrained himself far too much down to just 2 builds. That was the DT drop and the 4-gate blink. And I really thought that was his worst period of PvT, but he tried for a good year, guys. I would cast PvTs of MaxPax, and it would legitimately be easy to call. Drunk on the floor, not looking at the game type of calling situation. And I'm not saying this to brag on MaxPax. I think what it was, and I don't know for a fact, I don't talk to the kid, but I think what it was is, again, this kind of the idea of honing the spear. This kid picks a different spear, different stick than everyone else, and he tries to hone it. And in that case, it just wasn't a very effective spear. Like, stop trying to hone it. Because I really think he was trying to make those 2 builds into something that they weren't, which was something that was actually macroable. So it didn't have to do a lot of damage, it could only do so much damage, but it didn't matter because I could macro out of it. I really think it put him in bad positions. I mean, he was basically up until the Caster Civil War, because that's what he did against Hero Marine again. He went for a 4-gate blink or a DT drop. I forget which one, but it was one of the 2. And it just didn't work. But right after that, for regionals, and some of these open cups, we got to see him play around with, let's call it more normal openers. So a Stargate opener, or Twilight Council in the 3rd base opener, and I think he just looks so much better. So I really think he was just trying to prove a point, like he did in some other matchups, and just was, I don't know, maybe finally admitted that it wasn't going to work out. You can still throw them in. They're okay builds, but they're still overall aggressive, very risk-heavy builds. Stargate opener, fine. Twilight Council, 3 gateways, 2 gateways, fine. And he has chosen the Stargate opener this time around. To a game of Dochi? No. I'm actually not familiar with what that is. I always learn something kind of new, though. You know, like, there's a lot of things that you won't even know are different from country to country, culture to culture. Because it's just not on the list of things to ask. You know, the list of things to check off and make sure you're not being... what's the word? Improper and rude. Is like ordering food, tipping, slurping your noodles versus not. You know, like maybe food-related things, restaurant-related things. But there's still more things that I learn are different every time I visit places, and I'll get into what I learned this time around after we talk about this engagement. Oracle kills 5 SCVs but gets bopped by the Cyclone. Then the question is, can MaxPax hold against the push? So far, so good. The fact that he was able to mostly target down that tank, it could have been a lot worse. He could have lost 4 stalkers trying to target down that tank. He only lost 2. I think he's okay. And yes, he is. Yeah, Byun even agrees. Like, if the tank had lived a little bit longer, it's a bit more in question, but nope, doesn't work out. So anyways, the thing that I learned this time around, so they call rock, paper, scissors something, you know, in Korean, and the way that they do rock, paper, scissors in Korean is also a lot more fun. It's a lot more fast. So I already knew that, but I learned 2 things. One, the way that we would decide who went first in beer pong was that they would just, you know, basically hold the pong ball in their hand, and you would guess which one it was, which is fair enough. Like, I could see Americans doing the same thing to determine who goes first. Usually we try and flip a coin, I think. But then we also had a situation where it was a 2v2, and we were trying to decide, you know, who's on whose team. And what they had us do, because I was the only American and everyone else was Korean, what we did was we basically went like 1, 2, 3, and then you would show one side of your hand or the other side of your hand. So palm up or palm down. And then eventually, you do it enough times, 2 people are palm down, 2 people are palm up. And that's how you would determine who's on whose team. And I was like, I've never done this. I'm surprised I got it this quickly because I was a little bit drunk. So yeah, that's my story. I hope you liked it. Game continues on. MaxPax deflects the tank push, which I think he did it pretty well. I do. Because there's the snowballing bad, where he loses all of his stalkers in a failed attempt to kill the tank, and you're like, oh shit. And then there's the losing 4 stalkers, eventually pushes through, but still took too much damage. I think he took an okay amount of damage. This, though, not so much. Loses the Oracle, loses too many stalkers. MaxPax's attempt at controlling the engagement did not go well there. Oh, Doc G in the beginning of what? How often do you think adults are playing red light, green light? Oh, you mean the very beginning? Oh, okay. Hold on. You mean when he was just betting the guy on the subway? Okay. No, I've never played that game, and I will not play that game. I thought but you said first game. I was like, you know, people don't just play red light, green light in Korea. It's just like a thing you join, like a park with a bunch of other adults. Although that would be so awesome if it was. Kind of want it to be now. Explain rock, crane, rock, paper, scissors. It just is faster, really. So I don't know, the way that I've played it with other English speakers, as you watch some multi-pronged attacks go down, actually. MaxPax is not handling them too nicely so far. Stalkers got killed, Zealots get kind of bunched up, but it's more about the right side and how much damage that can do. Yeah, I don't think MaxPax is handling this quite well enough. Oh, excuse you, Medivacs. Just die to the Wood of Mines, why don't you? But not quite, so it was a bait for the Stalkers. Aha! JK. Okay, MaxPax is going to handle this well enough. That was really close. That was close to disaster. It was a lot of aggression coming out of Byun with 5 barracks already being done. I'm a poet. And the third CC is only just finishing, so consider that when you look at how tight this has been. But if MaxPax can survive until he has 2 Colossus, then Byun, you know, unless he finds only 2 Colossus stopping him, he probably won't be able to overwhelm them. But the problem now, as I'm speaking about it, is that he might only be up against 2 Colossus. He just got rid of all of the Colossus fodder, which is something that MaxPax could not allow. So, okay, yeah. GG. This last Colossus is still up against a decent number of Marauders, so sorry, buddy. But imagine if the Immortal is there, if 6 Stalkers are there, 6 Charge-Outs are there, and the 2 Colossus are properly protected, then that's kind of the cutoff point for Byun's aggression, but Byun made it work. GG. You're supposed to throw until someone makes it. Oh, well, we would have been deciding for a really long time. But no, the rock, paper, scissors thing is in with other English speakers, I've only ever done kind of this thing like rock, paper, scissors, shoot. In Korea, it's more common to do just like this, rock, paper, scissors in Korean. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. So you wouldn't do the stupid thing. So you can go really, really fast. And then how do you decide who goes first to decide who goes first? If you're a dragon, you're just gonna have to come to Korea and show all these Korean kids what's up. Oh, it's funny because I mean, Hajin actually did this in college, so she was in France, not Korea, when she learned this. But oh well. Imagine knowing 3 different languages, guys. Most of us can't even imagine 2. Unless I'm severely underestimating my Twitch population. Ah, well that caster needs to fucking get good then. Renegades needs to get the APMs up, man. If I get the chance to join Squid Game, I believe in you. No, I don't. I don't believe in myself. It's a rigged game. They say that it's even, so it gives everyone an equal chance to take control of their lives, but that's fucking wrong. That guy who chose to go first on the glass floor game, he was just fucked by chance. That's stupid. You're not control of your own destiny when you get to just be screwed if you choose the first one. I think I could win red light, green light. Well, I could not die. I don't know if I'd be like the first person across. And I might be able to do the cookie cutout game. I would have probably failed at that one, though. Bottom left of... Oh my god, Glittering Ashes. These have been such long games. And top right is Byun. Byun has played like a 20-plus minute game at the very least every time he's arrived on Glittering Ashes. Like, oh my god. If it happens again, I'm just gonna go to bed. Is the billiards guy gonna be the new channel meme? If he wasn't so aggressively correcting, I would have been like, okay then. But I felt the need to point out that, you know, it's just a joke, man. It was just me spouting out about, like, bar games and how people get really good at them. And he didn't like that either. It was a weird amount of hostility about bar games. Yeah, Ancient Casual. Funnily enough, you putting Korean letters into English letters actually hurts my chances of pronouncing it and remembering what it is. You should just write it in Hangul. You used to be fluent in 4? Damn, what happened, bro? Yeah, I didn't get the typical university experience, so I never got to play beer pong. So I was already out-experienced. There's other people who actually went to more typical college experiences. Maybe I'll convince the guys I'm hanging out with on Saturday to play beer pong. I guess to fill the time gap here, as we have once again a factory expand versus a Stargate. So we ended up playing with these two guys, total randos. They just, Hodge was just like, "You want to play with us?" And they were like, "Okay, that's fine." I think it was their first time playing, actually. We had to explain it to them. The people that were like, uncomfortably close to me, because they didn't situate this beer pong place very well, they also were quite amused. They were two very pretty ladies and a very mediocre guy. But they all were watching us, and they were laughing at our antics. Anyways, one of the guys has to go, and then Hajin has to go catch the subway train, and then just me and this one guy. And he had, like, some English, so we talked a little bit, because I just lived really close by. I didn't really have to go at any point. We ended up talking a little bit, and he convinces me to wait a minute, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he gets on the phone, and he calls his friend, who lives in Daegu, which is like an hour train away. And it's because his friend speaks really good English, and he hands me his phone, and his friend's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, how you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm good, it's kind of weird." He's like, "Yeah, he just wants me to tell you that he's actually a really nice guy. That's it." I was like, "Oh, yeah, good to know, thanks." And that was the conversation. I mean, we were in a public bar, so it's not like I was worried. That's my story. Yeah, another one. It's a Phoenix game, actually. So this is different than the last one, not Oracle, Phoenix instead. MaxPax's Oracles were less than ideal. Yeah, the first one did kill, what, 4 or 5 SCVs, but still it died. And another one died after doing absolutely nothing. So this Phoenix game does change things up. Maybe Byun's getting some deja vu. This is kind of what Geralt did to him, so Phoenix charge. No weird early forge, but that's okay. Didn't really mess up Geralt's plan all that much. Yeah. Bow. I mean, I mostly hear the bow, I guess. Means me take Soko shots instead of beer? What is Soko shots? Soko. Oh, Raven died. Did cost a Phoenix, but I think that is fair. I think that's still better for the Protoss. Is it a whiskey? Oh my god. I mean, I had a lot of beer that night. I think what did me in, though, was the American mule that I had, that the guy bought for me, which I thought was funny. So I was reading it, and it's in Hangul, and it's like it's called American Mule. Tito's American Mule. They're not calling it Moscow Mule. And I don't think it's because of the Russian-Ukraine war, but it might be, I guess. I think that's just maybe what Koreans were already doing. I don't know. After having a bunch of beer. I think that's what was my mistake. I mean, the night went beer and soju. Somek, you just dump soju into beer. And then going into beer, and then ending on a Moscow Mule. I think the build order was not ideal, you know? Because otherwise I think I can do a lot of beer and not be too sick. I mean, I can be sick of beer. Like, there is such a thing as too much beer, for sure. But I don't get, like, nauseous off of it. But taking shots instead of beer shots when you play beer pong, that would be that would guaranteed be nauseating, I think I would die. MaxPax is setting up a proxy gate. He is looking to add in a lot of aggression while still expanding, but again, very low gas count. Very basic army as well. And for now, just using it to get some zealots running in. So once again, Byun has opted for 5 barracks for 3rd CC. So you're going to have a lot of production. Probably enough to handle things back at home, but enough to actually break through someone who's been powering up? I don't think so. Especially if the Widow Mines don't hit. And with the pickups, well, it's going to guarantee that they don't hit. Oh, Southern Comfort? I've never seen it shortened. I've never seen it shortened. But I guess that makes sense. Okay, get back to chat in a second. We got a lot of charge lots coming into an already stimmed army that just stimmed again. Widow Mines are going to explode and correctly onto the Zealots, so that'll save Byun's life for now. But that was a bit sketch because Byun was an upgrade behind, and he had already... it was double stimmed at that point. Yeah, so some Korean guys have a rep for being stalkers. That's probably what he's worried about. I like this response. Oh man, wait to hear about white dudes. Yeah, I've... especially in Korea, at the very least. I haven't really been to any other Asian country. Well, Japan as well. But yeah, in those two countries, I've never once felt threatened by the guys I'm with. I mean, there's annoying guys, and I'm sure there's guys that are probably actually creeps. But I just never... I don't know. It's far more likely that I get a weird dude in America, in my experience thus far. Which you might say, oh, well, you have more experience being, you know, in American bars than you do Korean bars. And I'm like, I'm not so sure that's true. I go out on a more casual basis in Korea, whereas in America or just like anywhere else in the world, I go out almost exclusively for like Twitch after parties, okay? So it's probably around the same. There's a bunch of different mules, yeah, but almost everyone thinks of the Moscow Mule as the basic one. I will absolutely argue this. The Moscow Mule was kind of one of the ones like that first got popular. It absolutely started in like Western United States. I don't know where it truly started, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure in California. And then I started seeing it on the Eastern Seaboard years later, like 4 years later. Who cares about this game? MaxPax wins. JK, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Byun was having trouble ending the game as such a large map against someone who had so many units. But anyways, and then it was just still only Moscow mules. Then I had an Irish mule when I was in England because I went to a... No, in Denver. Sorry, not in England. I went to a Irish pub in Denver. I think it was an Irish pub and an Irish mule. And I learned that you could just add whatever alcohol. So there's like Mexican mule and Caribbean mule and whatever else. But Moscow mule is definitely the default one. I will argue this. As someone who spent, I don't know, years... I probably saw a Moscow Mule. I had one like I first went to California in 2013, maybe. Maybe second time I went, 2014, something like that. And then I thought, damn, this thing is delicious. And I went back home, and I did not see any mules of any sort for at least 2 or 3 years. And then the East Coast figured out this thing called ginger beer, and now it's everywhere. I will always remember the absence of Moscow mules. Went to a Tito's vodka release party. All the Tito's we could drink. Ugh. Not that it's Tito's, like whatever, but just the thought of vodka right now is... Still not feeling it. Still not recovered, guys. Oh, I only just got what you meant by Southern Comfort. It is neither of those words. It is neither Southern nor it is comfort. Gotcha. Now it's tied up series. Bottom left, MaxPax. Top right, Byun. I actually, I wasn't really paying that much attention. I got the gist of the last game. Don't worry about it. And it was what I said. It was that MaxPax chose a very quantity style of play, well defended against the push that Byun had set up, and I think the size of the map just really worked against Byun's plan. Byun has made it work against, as I said, other Protosses. He played that map so many times this past week. But I think that might be getting even to him, who plays a bajillion StarCraft games all the time. That he might have even pushed the issue a bit more on the aggressive side, because he was like, no, I don't want to play 20 minutes again. So I think that did open up MaxPax's opportunities a little bit more. And so he won the game. Just kept hitting that run by button. It was a regular Moscow Mule, just called American Mule. Yes, exactly. There was nothing about the American Mule that made it American. Because I think an American Mule, actually, they call it a Kentucky Mule, I guess would be the closest thing. That's what I've seen Kentucky bourbon in ginger beer. But I've never seen American Mule, and it was vodka, ginger beer, and lime. It was just a Moscow Mule. I've tried an Irish Mule, which is my preferred mule, actually. I've tried, obviously, a Moscow Mule, and I've tried, I think I tried the mule with tequila. And I saw the mule with bourbon, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm alright. Their factory expands? No, this was a 1-Rax expand. This is the high ground that I've been talking about. And maybe MaxPax will go back into Stargate? No, changing things up. Twilight Council. Probably read about the war thing. I mean, it could be. It absolutely could be. I actually walked past a building that had a bunch of, I don't remember the slogan that people are using to side with Ukraine, but basically there's a side with Ukraine posters plastered on a building. So it could be because of that. But I also would not at all be surprised if basically the filtration system of how, you know, the drink got to Korea was through nothing but American people who might have been asking for Moscow Mules, but then the bartenders were like, what the fuck are you on about? And they're like, it's, you know, it's ginger beer and it's vodka and it's lime, and they're like, okay, whatever. And they just started calling it American Mule because a bunch of Americans kept being annoying about it. But I don't know. There's actually a lot of things in life where if you really think about it, the way that it got to be where it's at is kind of fascinating. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, how did it change over? It could be simple. It could be because, you know, they're looking for another word aside from Moscow, because Russia's a bunch of dicks right now. Or it could be because of the American influence that brought it over into maybe Itaewon first, and then it spread from there. Who knows? But then there's even other things, like how did beer pong get to be what it is now? How did darts get to be what it is now? People, you know, kind of know the history of chess, and they can kind of pinpoint when, like, the balance changes were made, if you will. Alright, Fear Dragon, can you please make a sign for Estrella that says, "You are my angel, Max"? And you can write Fear Dragon if it's weird. Yeah, I can do that, as long as I get to write, you know, quote-unquote Fear Dragon. Sniper was a bad player. Thank you. Okay, I'll do that. I'll try to remember, but remind me. I think I'll remember, because I'll probably pass the signs station and I'll make it. Mezcal mules are good. The smoky. Not like smoky. Cyclone exactly the best probe killing units. It's not really designed for this, so for 3 probes, you'd say it's kind of okay for a Cyclone. I would say it's not. It covers its mineral cost, it doesn't cover its gas cost, and there's bigger prey the Cyclone could take down. It can, you know, in a good career of a Cyclone, it could take down an Oracle, it could take down a War Prism, it could take down 2 Stalkers, it could take down 3 Zealots, whatever. So I don't know, that was kind of an interesting use of a Cyclone. I guess once he figured that it wasn't Stargate, because I don't... Well, no, I saw it was a Twilight Council pretty quick. I don't know. I don't know. He might have just been really insistent on finding the gases, so that was his only scout he had, because he went for a Reaper into not a Widowmine drop. So that might have been just the insistence on scouting the gases. You scout the gases, you know that it's Phoenix, or not Phoenix, it's Colossus, or more emphasis on the Gateway. So if he had seen 1 gas, he might have thought, okay, maybe it's more Gateway heavy, but it's Colossus. So he should be able to approach the situation a bit differently. Everything I've eaten in Korea so far, well, I like almost everything I eat in Korea, really. I went to the fish market, had some pretty good fish. Oh, nice deflection there from MaxPax, who's barely not going to kill the medevac. And... I actually had really good food 2 nights ago. We got bulldog and tteokbokki. And sushi. Probably the sushi. So 3rd CC on location. Byun is he's not committing to the 2-base style of play as much this time around. And just controlling the situation. And we got ourselves a macro game. MaxPax bit later to those upgrades with the style of choice. But having those comfy, safe Colossus. He's so safe anymore. Someone is like hammering, I think. That's the only thing that would replicate the sound is someone hammering in a nail. It's really weird. I can feel the bass more than I can actually hear it. Little pokes and prods, finds the Warp Prism, finds the drop finds the Zealot. Really some kind of cool motion on the map control. But what really sucks is that as cool as all these attempts at map control and taking the Xel'Nagas and scouting where everyone is, it's all beat up by this one observer. This one observy boy. He gets to see everything. This is a tremendous amount of value MaxPax is picking up. Guaranteed Byun would even use 2 scans and he'd be able to take care of that. He doesn't actually have it though, doesn't know about it, so he's just forced to take this engagement as best as he possibly can. An engagement that MaxPax had sized up a long time coming. And still might not make it work, actually. Yeah, so again, he saw everything that Byun had, thought he could make this work, and was a little bit incorrect, wasn't he? Byun takes a really good engagement. He did have 1-1 versus 1 for that, and a decent concave as well. Takes care of the Warp Prism, gets that monkey off his back, and now can initiate a full-on counterattack. That is a real problem, actually. MaxPax lost the engagement so hard, and then lost the one thing that would buy some time, that he might just lose because of it. Pushing yourself through the choke Against a shield battery and disruptor, that's difficult to do though. And it looks like a zealot tried to bother him a little bit. I don't know, man. Byun's gonna open up some pathways, I guess. Okay, okay. MaxPax has 4 bases. He has double robo. He could be on the road to recovery. But he's actually taking it a bit slow. He's not going double robo production. He's getting 2-1, a Dark Shrine, and only 1 disruptor at a time. Something that I think Byun will be able to handle. That's 2 disruptors gone. Byun is not going to pounce. Thank you very much, Aranikius Maga. Aranikius Maga. Okay, that's a really hard name to say, but thank you very much for the Prime sub. Taking an engagement out in open field is going to be what's a little bit better for Byun. I think he might actually take this engagement. Yep, absolutely. And there's only 1 more disruptor shot. Now make it 0 disruptor shots. And that one's going to get tagged by the Marauder slow. Good force fields, though. Good escape plan. Good escape plan there from MaxPax, who has survived the very scary 20-30 army supply deficit that he had, and is now totally okay. Still, be awfully careful of MaxPax having such an army that relies a little bit more on having a choke on its side, and be so careful trying to traverse the map currently. Once he's in a location over here, he's good to go. But actually getting there is proving quite problematic. Disruptor shots not really getting the good shots. Zealot's getting stutter-stepped against. And while this might open up an opportunity on the right side for some Zealot harassment, Byun is also handling that quite well. Even if MaxPax could get Byun to retreat and actually start pushing the issue on the choke, there's a planetary. So it also is going to be difficult for MaxPax to push in through the choke. As difficult as it would be for Byun to push through this choke that direction. So, pretty high-level PvT. One that I think is going favorably engagement-wise for Byun, but macro-wise going really well for MaxPax. He's got 5 bases, 87 workers, 2-1 upgrades. I think he's working on 3-2 now. Yeah. And Byun is just shy of having his 2-2 complete. But once that is done, once he has dealt with some of the harassment, he might just collect his forces together, move across the map, or he might throw down 3 command centers. Okay, JK. Never mind. Never mind. Might be waiting a little while longer then. So the aggression didn't work out last game. It's going to take it nice and slow this time around. That's fine. That's okay. I love casting. I want to cast for 6 hours. And 2 engagements happening at the same time. Oh, that is all the disruptors. That is so dangerous. Yeah, that's also a lot of the ghosts. Not all that properly protected. Nice snipes from MaxPax with the blink forward. And the charge lots are just too numerous to be stopped. Oh boy. Had to sneeze. I'm allergic to 20-minute long games. Now the Liberators have reached across the map. Only 2 of them, so not the biggest of deals. They don't have Liberator range. They don't have any upgrades on them, so they're not the almighty Liberator. But in this position, well, they'll certainly have used the choke. Shield battery is now gone as well, and that's just not a big enough army here for MaxPax. He needs something bigger, better to get over here and help out. And here come those disruptors, but they can't help out with the Liberators, that's for sure. They're going to have to push this bio-army back, allow room for the Stalkers to jump forward, and even then, that might not be enough. Things are looking actually really rough for the Protoss at this point. Finally gets a good disruptor shot, but then the other 2, not so great. This one's okay. And again, the Liberators being a major problem. EMPs blanket the Stalkers, making them awfully cautious about moving into Liberator range. And it looks like on the left side, holy shit, that was close. Byun has pushed through the defenses. 27 probes have died. Nexus falls. Liberator still alive, allowing for the evacuation of Byun, who now holds a 60 supply lead. He won on both engagements, guys. And is now winning the economy game. Still a little down in upgrades, but who cares? He's getting advanced ballistics. He's going up to medevac. boost thingy. What's it called? Pre-igniters? Infernal? No, that's blue flame. Shit, I always forget the medevac one. It's the boost upgrade, don't worry about it. But continuing to rally Liberators forward, DTs are going to try and disrupt Byun's economy, maybe pull him back as well. That would be nice, but so far they're just awaiting. Now they're going to jump after it, and they will get that planetary, just as a guarantee. Yep. Ooh, DTs were nerfed. They can't kill planetaries as well anymore. Okay. Still, Byun holds a 40 supply lead-ish. Holds this position. And MaxPax is going to need something big in the next minute, which I think he can get. I mean, he's still got a good number of disruptors. He's got a decent army supply. He's got his DTs running around being a bunch of dicks. But he did not maybe account for Byun continuing to be aggressive. Liberators move over to protect this army, of which he just tucks himself into a little corner. Kills all these gateways. Zealots on the third base of Byun. DTs on the left side alongside Stalkers. The Liberator gets torn down, and hey, things are still kind of heating up. The right side does eventually get taken care of, and Byun isn't going to cry about losing access to the space. And he doesn't even lose the actual base itself. Recall has to happen, but that's going to be a brutal cleanup with the bio so tucked in, with the Liberators so well positioned. And Byun manages even to escape with a couple of units as he evens up the 3-3 upgrades. He'll also get that +2 ship weapons with an EMP one-shotting those Stalkers. Brutal. And MaxPax would have either needed to be on air or in much better control of this game to win out against the perfected Liberators, of which there are 9. That's no boosta. That's 9 boosta. Now the planetary does fall, to be fair. So Byun might be bothered by this, but unless he was also winning, or losing, sorry, if it was also losing some big battles, this would be a descent, hardcore descent. He's not really losing any battles, so... I was quite worried this was me, and the guys hammering outside were like fixing the internet. But nope. Yeah, medevacs get blue flame. I wish. What if they, like, boosted, and that caused their engines to deal damage to mutas that were chasing them? That'd be dope, yo. Goodbye. Seems like a done game. It really does. I know it's a hard game to execute on both sides, and positionally it's a lot maybe more difficult for the guy with the Liberators with the siege units. So there's always a chance that Byun is not in the correct place at the right time. But it is Byun, so we don't consider that so much. MaxPax is trying to make him make a mistake, but even this engagement is not that promising. Because, of course, this is only a portion of Byun's army. GG. MaxPax gave it a good go. Hmm. This isn't Carol versus Mixu. It's definitely not. Byun MaxPax started their series incredibly quickly. But I just didn't press the done button. In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, it is MaxPax. In the top right, we have Byun. Pretty long game on 2,000 atmospheres. And a really close game. Up until the two-pronged attack, the multitasking was tested. Well, that and the Liberators. I mean, I don't think MaxPax would necessarily lose all the time in a APM challenge against Byun. But that certainly affected some things. It was just the addition of the Liberators, actually getting them across the field. Because MaxPax had totally recovered from the lost Colossus battle, but he hadn't really taken control over the map again. So Liberators coming up on his business was going to be a bit difficult. And that really started the snowball effect. And then it was really quite over for the last 2 minutes. But you could see how MaxPax might have been able to falter a worse Terran player. Make them mess up. Has MaxPax ever beaten a Korean? Yes, he has. So that's a funny question. It'd be amazing if he didn't. Because there are worse Korean players than Byun, that's for sure. I need to clean my keyboard, guys. I think I'll take time after the cast to do that. It's looking a bit too gamer, you know what I mean? A bit too much on the Dorito dust. Well, Probe got good enough scouting. Well done, guy. Sees that it's a 1-rack expand. Just on the high ground. Max was like, whatever, dude. I was gonna do anything anyways. They're the one that looks silly. Oh, and a Stargate play again. Stargate has worked out for him. Was that last game that was a Twilight Council? Found the difference. Well, he's lost 2 games, so. He did also lose a Phoenix game. An Oracle game, that's the one that he lost. His Phoenix game worked out, so I wonder if he's going to go to Phoenix again. Ooh, Byun will wonder as well. Did not manage to avoid their depth shade, so he did not get to see that as a Stargate opener. So he has no idea about anything. Could be Oracle, could be Phoenix, could be Blink. And it is going to be back into those Phoenix. It worked. That was the game that he won. And then it's going to be scouted. That's excellent. Kind of hoping that Byun goes for a medevac drop. So that he scouts while dying. But Byun will not be going for a Widowmine drop. Just like last game, he's going to go for a Cyclone. Maybe even play very dangerously with a Cyclone. And then going to go into a 2-on-1 situation. Let's watch the Cyclone. So, Cyclone knows it's Phoenix. Not exactly another good Cyclone opener, but that's fine. And then Phoenix Charge. Yes. Phoenix Charge once again. It's a different map for it, though. I mean, Hardwire isn't exactly a tiny map, but it's definitely tinier than Glittering Ashes. It also has more of the direct attack paths. Should keyboard the tiers of your enemies. I mean, if I could collect them, I would. It's been a super long in North America. It has, man. There's a portion of the bracket that just took forever. The players are exhausted. I mean, MaxPax should be exhausted. Even though MaxPax plays in this Open Cup, it's still not a great time for him, even if he's kind of used to it. And the longer it goes on, the worse it should affect him. Although, to be I was saying it earlier, Byun waking up at 7:30 to get involved in this Open Cup probably doesn't feel so great for him either. It's a stamina challenge. Oof. You're gonna get a push. Byun does not know for a fact that it is Phoenix Charge, but since that is what MaxPax won with, I don't know, I think you could actually guess. And there really isn't anything else that tells him much. Didn't even technically see the third. So we'll see how the engagement goes. Just as long as MaxPax times out his gateways, right? And he actually has charge lots to warp in. Usually, Protoss is fine. Byun stims ahead, looks for what's going on, sees that it's charge lots, knows the type of engagement that is going to be had. And the lack of Widowmine is a little bit hurtful. Medevac's also now gone, very hurtful. And Byun is going to try and take out what he can. That is still a lot of Marines left over. Even the Marauders actually live. The third CC was quickly killed, not cancelled. Oof. MaxPax was on to Byun's timings and immediately sent his Zealots right as the command center went down, I'm guessing. So it was super low on health. It doesn't give even the pro gamer time to really respond. Oof. Heard one of mine. Heard another one of mine. What the? I keep hearing Widowmines. There's that one, yes. Oh, that one is one I heard. Okay. When he's even hiding them. Ooh-hoo-hoo. That's lost command center plus now having to be cautious and putting the second one up on the high ground is pretty brutal. Byun knows that he's in a very, very bad position. Oh, well, didn't pop off. And the Phoenix will not go into the main base, but then accidentally find the army, so they probably should have gone into the main base. Even though there was also a trap there, going to the army, going to the Widowmines. MaxPax, who's controlling the Phoenix up until that point, was really good. Well, just lost most of them. The run-bys are going to find each other, but Byun's run-by is bigger, and bigger is better. And then Byun still has his army waiting on the right side for, I guess, maybe a Warp Prism for the Phoenix, for something. He'll use it eventually. But his real attack's not going to be real until he's got these ghosts on the front line. So they are popping out. We're close to having a real. So by the time there is a real engagement, there's also going to be Colossus. Or hopefully, for MaxPax's sake. It's a mighty fine anti-charge lot Archon army currently, though. 4 Water Mines, 3 Ghosts. Phoenix can't do very much right now. There's 1 Colossus. Okay, Shield Body Overcharge as well, so that's pretty damn good to have. But, I don't know. Gonna pull away from it. Water Mines are a little far apart from the army. 3 of them not gonna be involved, but a concave is trying to happen here for Byun. He realizes he actually can't get it. He's gonna try and evacuate out the north side, back to his Water Mines, in fact. Oh, nope, actually gonna give up on the chase. Good enough defense there from MaxPax, just good enough. And the Zealots are, in this case, a little mistimed, actually. Plenty from Byun to hold against that. Takes care of all of them, and now he's trying to get those Liberators on the front lines. MaxPax has an upgrade lead, and will, I think, continue to have an upgrade lead. Byun's +1 armor is finishing around the same time MaxPax's 2-2 is finishing. So, MaxPax is, I think, winning this game. Alright, he might be down 20 army supply, but he still has 3 fresh Colossus. Eventually going to have their range as well. 2-2 upgrades to 1-1, and he's going on 5 bases. Where Byun's 4th only just starts, and of course not on location. Where's the speed up button? Why can't I press the plus buttons? But it is the size of the run by that counts. But it is. MaxPax is to be a bit careful. He actually has a lot of map vision this game. Pylon and Observer over to the right side, but he had just barely missed where the army was. Now he knows. Now he knows, and he wants to gun it. Actually, it's Byun who guns it. Coming in with kind of a concave, but maybe not enough on that right side. The Vikings getting destroyed as there just weren't that many of them. The Disrupt is going to help take out that right side. In fact, last second split does help out. And the Marauders are still alive, still actually chasing down those Colossus. Charges go right before going left, so they get blocked out by the Stalkers. But I do believe this is good enough for MaxPax. He has won the game. And I think it all really started with the Command Center not being canceled. Such a big setback for Byun that is going to take us to Game 5. Oh boy. Oh boy. So I'd love to just order food, right? Here's my conundrum in Korea right now. So I can order food off of this thing called a shuttle app, but it doesn't have a lot of options. And it's a little bit more expensive than usual Korean because they just mark it up for the foreigners, I guess. Whatever, it's a convenience thing, right? So fair enough. But the options are limited. That's the problem. Now, I could try and use the apps that Koreans use. So Yogi-Oh is a really popular one. Problem. Quandary. Where should I start? So first of all, it's only in Korean, which is fine. But the app has a lot more questions than it used to, maybe because of COVID. So I've had, like, not a lot of success with the app. I haven't been able to figure out what buttons I'm supposed to press. And then, the website is a lot easier to use. It asks you less questions for whatever freaking reason. And it also auto-translates with Google. So you're like, oh, okay, I know what I'm saying here. Korea still does not have an updated, like, credit card system, basically. They're not hip. They're not on it for some reason. So they can't really take all these same international, like, pay situations. You can use your credit card anywhere in Korea in person, but apparently online is like a different story. So I go to pay after putting in all my details, making sure everything's correct, and it tells me that, one, I cannot pay by, like, the door. I can't just, like, have them come and give them money because of COVID, I think. And then also, I think they also are really cautious of new addresses in case I get it wrong and then they just, you know, never find me. And then 2, I can't pay with credit card because I need to use Internet's freaking Explorer to fucking use it. And you know what I really don't want to do? Upload it in an Explorer. Or download it, sorry. Download it. And then put my credentials in it. I really don't. So, yeah. I have to, like, go out to get food. Well, it's such a pain. Eesh. Eesh. Ooh, bottom right, MaxPax. Bottom left, Byun. I'm glad I had some bread to eat in the morning. My brain hasn't worked very good so far. It's only gonna get worse in this game 5. Whoops. It's gonna be evening by the time this ends. Yeah. It's gonna be late. It's gonna be late. But these guys are freaking in it to win it, man. They got pride on the line. Another Wonder Ice expand on the high ground. Woo! I am still kind of surprised. As much as I've gotten used to Byun doing this, I'm still surprised that he does it every single time he 1-racks expands. Oh, is he gonna 3-racks? I think he's gonna 3-racks. Okay. Yeah, Microsoft's finally kicking Internet Explorer out. Which, I saw that on a Reddit thread, and people correctly were joking about Korea. They're going to be in shambles. Because they very much have a behind-the-times situation. That if they have to update all of their computers with things outside of Internet Explorer, they're going to have a lot of problems. So just really stupid. The app would work, I think, if... I forget what the problem with the app is, aside from me just, like, not understanding what they want me to do. Because I'll, like, take a picture of it, I'll take a screen cap of it, which is really easy to translate, and then it'll do the scan, and then just, like, won't fucking translate it. And I don't really feel like downloading other translation apps to try and get it to scan correctly. But it'll scan a perfectly legible picture of the Korean. And it'll only capture that, like, half of it is in Korean, even though all of it's in Korean. I'm like, well, why are you so useless? And all the old guides of how to use it don't work anymore, because they, as I said, they start asking more questions. Thanks to COVID. Like, one of the options I eventually translated, I literally did the read it in Korean, type it in Korean. I'm not a good typist in Korean, to be, you know, of course. So I'm, like, having this, like, Google browser Korean keyboard thing, and I'm typing, like, 1 word a minute. I eventually found out that one of the options was, it just says choose your option, and then there's a drop-down list. There's, like, 6 different options on this list. And the first one I typed was, please take your time and be careful. So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess the other ones are like, please hurry or something like that. But I was like, oh, good, the first one's fine. And even then, it was like, well, you have other things you didn't choose correctly. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna translate this entire freaking webpage. So, 3 Rex. Something that MaxPax, I think, was able to pick up on with the lack of Cyclone for so long. He is going 2-base Colossus. Oh, he's not getting Robo Bay. Okay, I assumed he's going 2-base Colossus because I saw 4 gases. He hasn't gotten a Robo Bay yet. Byun is threatening the stim in, but with 2 shield batteries, a force field, and a mortal, probably not worth it. Korea's Y2K. That's what people are legitimately comparing it to. I don't know what their plan is. Okay, so there's robotics base. So it just was taking a little while to be afforded. That makes sense. You really can't do much else against the 3 racks. Like, you could try and fit in the 3rd Nexus, but then it's so easy for them to just take it down. So you'd be hoping they don't scout it. Weird thing. Nah, it's not gonna work. And you can't defend it either. It'd be really difficult to defend it. So you just kind of have to be forced to go into a 2-base robo build. Which, you know, it does kind of put the Protoss in a more uncomfortable position, I suppose. If he was planning on going Phoenix Charge against the 3 racks, I'm not sure you would really be able to get away with it. But anyways, but I think that MaxPax, as much as he might have wanted to do the other thing, because the other thing has worked for him twice now, he just can't. So, in a weird way, Byun's opener was effective, is a word you can use. It's a slow and steady build from MaxPax, still has some scouting, still has some harassment, and it's still pretty darn safe. You just don't get the same boost of economy. And this time around, Byun is going to get his 3rd CC on location. Good for him. Let's just watch these Phoenix. Whee! Woo! Heck yeah, Phoenix! Oh, got the observer. That is nice. And good old Ghost Academy's on the way. As I said, 3rd CC on location, so that's gonna feel much nicer for Byun. And you do get faster upgrades. So Byun's gonna have that 1-1 before MaxPax even has a upgrade, unless he continues upgrading. And upgrade. It's not like English speakers really care about the way our language sounds. Like, do we need this in thing? Like, what? Such balance, much wow. I was actually thinking last night, so I really wanted to get, like, outside and do some running or some hiking or something. And I was thinking about doing some today after this cast. Because I really don't have to travel all that far to get to a little pretty nature spot. Oh, but this is gonna go on forever. Now I'm just hungry. Just watch the VOD of the replay cast. It was awesome. Thank you for casting. Oh, thanks, Mind Games. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Little drop. Very, very cautiously moved. Even unloads just after it's really out of eyesight, quote unquote, of the Protoss. Another good observer scan. And, what? Maybe just situate himself in the top right, wait for a larger army on the front, then pull the trigger? Or is he going to pull the trigger now? Pulling the trigger now seems like it won't really do a whole lot. I mean, he even okay, so this is going to just pull the army out of position. Because he scans and he sees the army. So it's not like he thinks he's going to do a whole lot, right? There's no way that Byun would just do it because. So what he's trying to do is open up the middle. Now, MaxPax knows that, and then sends his Phoenix exactly where he doesn't have eyes. And that's exactly what you should do. It's exactly what you should do. Easy peasy. Hey, TKL. Aren't you up super early? Some adept pressure. Where the fuck they come from? And gold base being taken for Byun too. He's gonna go for the middle here. Disruptor number 1 got killed, and number 2 did not really get that great of a shot. And looks like during that, MaxPax was able to push away most of the army to the top. I know there were some ghosts here, and now there are not, so certainly missing something. But Byun is now down 20 army supply. Despite having an upgrade lead, I don't think he's going to be pushing past that. He does manage to catch some of those zealots that were trying to chase down his army. But it's still, it's not big enough to actually take on what MaxPax has. The more reinforcements are coming in. And he's going to go ahead and bother the probe line, which is pretty good, because now it's going to set up a bit of a trap. Now, MaxPax should know that he's walking into a potential concave, so he's going to try and anticipate it, deal with it, and he does pretty effectively deal with it. Loses 6 probes, not a super big deal. And the medevacs that Byun push over to the right side are going to be tearing down. So MaxPax, I mean, it kind of just seems like he's playing the better game right now. No Dark Shrines. This will be Zealot Weapons. No big deal. Byun's going to have 2-2, which, I mean, that's a pretty substantial upgrade lead. But he is trying to also get to Liberators. Trying to move past this point in PvT. If he gets there, he gets there. That's awesome. But is he going to get there? MaxPax is looking for a fight. He's feisty. Oh, shit. The Widowminers hit a lot of Phoenix. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Double Widowmine Supply Depot Sim City combination ended up being a little bit more problematic than MaxPax thought. It was more problematic than I thought it was going to be. Those Phoenix bulked up perfectly for the Widowmine. Thank you. And now all of the balls are in MaxPax's court. Basketball has like 5 balls, right, guys? Liberators might just be able to save the day. There's not a whole lot of Stalkers. In fact, there are none. And while the Phoenix could also do the trick, there's only 4 Phoenix now, and they are super, super bruised. MaxPax is going to try and push through regardless, but look how crazy slow the Phoenix kill these Liberators. But it's also other things happening, right? Zealots again to the main base, causing tons of damage, and 21 SCVs have already gone down. The bio is going down. MaxPax does not have exactly a substantial supply lead. There it goes. Bump it up a little bit more. It was 30 at the beginning of the sentence. Now it's a 50 supply lead at the end of the sentence. MaxPax is winning in all areas, except upgrades, I think, but that's okay. I don't think he needs to. I do believe a European will be winning this North American Open Cup. Gold base isn't mining. These don't even have add-ons. Byun's all over the place. He's unraveling. Yeah, it's GG. JJ. Well played. I was definitely worried about MaxPax after the first game. That was not so hot. But he found what worked for him, which was Phoenix. The Phoenix